Welcome to Parenting Q&A Week 2, where we are answering your questions about parenting from a biblical perspective. This week we talk about resources. Let's do this. Before we get into a quick discussion about resources that we can use as parents, I just wanted to say that next week's question comes from the book of Proverbs, and it's the age-old verse, train up a child in the way they will go, and when they get old, they won't depart from it. And the question came from a parent that has adult children that have not necessarily stayed in church. It's an incredible question. Can't wait to tackle that next week. This week's question, though, was what kind of resources will we be answering questions from? Obviously, we're going to use Scripture, we're going to use the Bible, but as Christian parents through the years, Jennifer and I have used particular resources, so I just thought I'd answer that question. What kind of resources do we use? Common sense says that some of the resources that we use are just typical books. And of course, recently we've gone to a lot of podcasts. But beyond books and podcasts, we recommend that any family, especially if you're in crisis mode, that you see some sort of Christian counselor. Go to your pastor, your church. Usually they have somebody that they recommend. It is always good to talk to other people, which leads me into the discussion that it's always good to seek out other Christian parents to find out what their struggles are, what they're doing, and perhaps learn something from them, especially if they're older than you and they've kind of been there and done that. With that said, one of the finest resources for Jennifer and I has been Focus on the Family. James Dobson in particular has written numerous books. I'm fairly old, and my parents actually had a copy of Dare to Discipline, one of his books. 3 of his books have been released in a collection called the Parenting Collection. The Parenting Collection includes The Strong-Willed Child, a new version of Dare to Discipline, and a book called Parenting Isn't for Cowards. All 3 books are excellent resources. You can order them anywhere you order books from, but highly recommend that. And then one of my favorite books from Dobson is a book called Bringing Up Boys. We got that when Levi was like this big. It's an incredible resource. He also wrote a book called Bringing Up Girls. And what you'll find is that boys and girls are a little bit different. And then another resource that we go to quite frequently is Family Life. Family Life is an organization. I think Barbara and Dennis Rainey co-founded it. They've also written several books. One of the books that they wrote fairly recently is called The Art of Parenting. It's this book right here. I think it came out around 2017, 2018. Incredible resource, very, very current. I couldn't really talk about resources without talking about my wife's favorite book, or at least one of her favorite books, and that's The Power of a Praying Parent by this lady here, Stormy Omartian. Really, really good book. She's written tons of books about praying wives and praying husbands, and she's obviously a prayer warrior. That's one of her giftings. But this is a really, really good book and just a good source of encouragement. Now, if you have a 20-something, then you might want to check out Dr. Campbell's book. It's just called Help Your 20-something Get a Life and Get It Now. So I don't know if you've got a 20-something, maybe failure to launch, or maybe they're launching and just not even in the right direction. Probably a good resource to get and check out. Back to Focus on the Family for just a minute. It's a large organization. They do a lot for families. In recent years, probably for the last 10 years or so, we've utilized one of their resources called Plugged In, mainly for movie reviews. So if a movie comes out or comes on that the kids want to watch, we can go to Plugged In and see all of the content. How bad is the language? What are the scenes like? What positive elements are? What negative elements are? So that at least we can choose to watch the movie or not watch it, and then we will already have some discussion points coming out of that. Really, really great resource. It's called Plugged In from Focus on the Family. Last resource that we wanted to discuss today was a resource called VidAngel. It's basically a filtering service to allow you to watch movies that might have really good storyline, might be a really good movie, but you don't necessarily want to hear the language, or there might be one scene or two scenes in the movie that you could just do without, and you still get the context of the movie. So that resource is called VidAngel. At this point, it's a monthly subscription of some sort, like you're paying for Netflix or Amazon. But once you have it, it's really, really easy to have the movie rented like through Amazon and set the filters in place and then play it on your TV, your Apple TV, Smart TV, Roku, whatever. So really, really incredible service. I will put links to Focus on the Family and to Family Life and to VidAngel in the description of this video. Again, we're just answering the question, what kind of resources did we use? And we talked today mostly about books and websites. Next week's question, again, is a tough one. It's that verse that's sometimes taken out of context from Proverbs, where it says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. Tough, tough verse. We'll talk about it next week. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, all of those things. We'll see you next time.